It's a thing I noted with an ex as we were breaking up. He was like, "You don't really love me. You love the image of me." And I just was so insulted. I was like, "F this, burning the house. How can you say I don't love you? I do everything for you." And oh my God, I'm having a mommy trigger here because that's kind of what I'm saying right now. I'm realizing is one of my biggest complaints with my dynamic with my mom, which is, you know, what is love if the other person doesn't feel it? I mean, my ex was a total narcissist, as most women are discovering. They date narcissists, or they're at least bossed by one. And toward the end of the relationship, I think he thought me haggard and tired because my generosity was capped. I was starting to say, I want more. I want you to show up for me. I want you to inspire me. I want you to say I love you. I don't want to initiate. I don't want to serve. I want to be served. Just I needed to feel inspired by him as much as he was always inspired by me. And when I said that, things turned because I think part of male privilege or any oppressor in any dynamic, right, is this belief of you should be inspired by the fact that you inspired me. The fact that I love that you love me is love in and of itself. Like that's the peak of the dynamic. You don't need to feel loved by me. And he said that and I was so insulted, and especially because again, you find yourself in so many relationships that are exactly like that of daddy. And I was just like so insulted. But because in some ways I think he was right, but not in the ways that he thought he was. And my father had said something similar, like, "You don't actually love me, DeAndre." He was always saying that, "You don't actually love me." And I was like, I love you, coddling and serving him. "I love you. Oh, you're great." Even after he made me cry. "Oh, you're so good." And I think in perspective, they were right in an odd way, but they were coming from a place of darkness because he was more aware that my love wasn't real than I was, because he was doing nothing to serve it, to protect it, to build it, to earn it. My father was this weird dynamic of being hyper aware he was a horrible father and hyper aware he was going to do nothing to change it. So his manipulation was just making me see bad was good. I love you even though I decimate you. And with this ex, when he said that, at first I was insulted, and in perspective, it challenged me to really think again, what is love? Because he was mistreating me. He was pushing my boundaries, crossing my limits, making me a lesser version of myself. Or at least and here's accountability. I was a participant. I was, right there, letting him cross the boundaries, letting him push the limits, making myself small to appease his, deluded bigness, because he wasn't that big. And for what? For what? He had the title of boyfriend, but he didn't have the role. I was the essence of that relationship. I was making it happen, which is why I kind of always resented how my friendships ended, how my relationships ended, even with bosses, because I was so servile, so docile, so generous. And when it ended, they all walked away like I owed them something, or indifferent and always ungrateful. But it was either they were angry and felt that I owed them because they gave me the chance to be their slave, or in this real like vacant indifference, like I was another chapter in their book, if I even was a chapter, most likely was an excerpt. They were my chapters. They were my books, but not with them. I got two sentences. And it's crazy to see that they were right. but not in the way that they thought. I think that they presented it as like, you don't really love me, like poking and prodding, trying to say, you don't really want me. You don't really think I'm great, so they could get more compliments or they could get coddled in their misbehavior, right? But it was a recognition that they knew they didn't deserve me. And that I was so mystified by a fantasy that they were right. I didn't love them because there was nothing fantastical about my father. There's nothing fantastical about most of my exes. There was no magic to them. They were not mystifying. They were not as talented as they thought, creative, smart, good, kind. They were never as great as I made them out in my head. And it was like we were both running on time. Because there was going to be a day when I realized they weren't that great. And then I was going to pressure them or demand them or kind of, weep before them. Why aren't you being as great as I thought you were? Or as you used to be? Or as you love bombed me in the first 5 weeks of the relationship to believe, and now we're on 5 years. And it's making me check myself and not move so quickly in love, not move so quickly in falling in love, really heal that part of me that my father ripped away, that words don't have to match actions. And kind of, bite the bullet and say, it was true. It was true. They were right. I didn't love them. I didn't love them and they didn't love me. I wanted a father so badly that my father literally could have just been mud with a stick in it. And I would have been like, that guy shows up to every dance. He is so sweet. Oh my God. The level of child support. He gives me the best birthday gifts. Like literally, he could have and that's one of the reasons I took him out of my life. At one point, my standards were so low in him loving me that I just thought, give me a mud with a stick in it, and I'll call it Papa. And I've had that dynamic with so many people, with so many exes. And when he said that, okay, I was pissed. But he was right. And I don't know if deep down he was saying that. I think you say things. I think you could say the truth in a lie. And I say that in terms of like, you can say, I don't think you love me, so that I go crazy and declare my love and declare how important you are and how great you are. And satisfy your truth that is kind of knocking at your door, which is that you don't deserve me, that you're not good enough for me, and that you're trying to do everything to make me a lesser version of myself so that then I oddly match you. But when I do match you as this lesser version of myself, you're going to get bored, you're going to get tired, and you're going to walk away. Because that version, the lesser version of me, is going to start asking you to build her. And you never came into this relationship to build anything but yourself. You didn't even come to build the love. And that is, that's a trippy realization when you look back at some of the people you deeply loved, like loved Bridgerton style, go like religiously almost, and how much you erased yourself for something that was never real. All image, all mental. Crazy. Check out daddyrecovery.com to follow the stories behind this podcast. Check out Deandra on all music platforms to follow the songs behind this podcast. And check out my socials to follow me and see the videos behind these podcasts. Always love for my community. Bye.